Welcome to Paradise. Barry Tramel, John Helsley, John Rohde. We are in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and it's the morning of the national championship game. Whether this becomes paradise for the Sooners tonight is yet to be seen. Oklahoma plays Florida for the national championship here in about 10 hours. Guys, common themes of the week. Let's start with the Heisman. Tim Tebow, 2007 Heisman winner, John. Dom Frank says he's no better than the fourth best quarterback in the Big 12. Your take on where Tim Tebow stands in the pantheon of college quarterbacks?
Well, if you're going two threats, he'd be number one in the Big 12. If you're going single threat, passing threat, he would be about fourth or fifth. I don't want to, start people talking here, but I saw Franks plays defensive back. He says it was easier to prepare for Tebow than it was for his Big 12 quarterbacks. When you're a defensive back, you're going to think that way, Barry.
How much, John Helsley, how much do you think Florida will take this as, Urban Meyer talked yesterday about he likes a mean team, an angry team, likes to play with a chip on his shoulder. Think Dom Frank's quote's going to land on the Gator bulletin board?
I'm sure it will. And, games like this, teams like to drum up some dislike for each other, whether it exists or not. And I think both teams have maybe tried to do that this week. But yeah, absolutely. And, we've heard a lot, too, that Tebow is such a competitive guy, and this is something that even he will use internally to get himself ready.
Well, the Sam Bradford, Tim Tebow confrontation, one of the primary elements of this big bowl. Now, another theme, the Big 12 defenses against the SEC defense. Clearly the SEC plays better defense than the Big 12. Everybody can admit that. Clearly also the Big 12 has superior offenses. How does this game break down, when you look at SEC defense against the Big 12 offense?
Well, if Florida played Oklahoma's schedule, I think they'd be about 30th or 40th in total defense. The numbers would just add up quicker. It's who you play and the kind of ball they play, and I think Florida's big defense is better than Oklahoma's. But if they were in the Big 12, their numbers would be showing it too.
Well, the one thing I found is I looked at some of the SEC offenses. You talk about bad quarterbacking, bad offenses. 6 teams ranked 97th or below in total offense. John, we were at this game 8 years ago when Oklahoma played Florida State. Everyone said, Oklahoma really can't slow down Florida State. They could still be playing, and the Seminoles wouldn't be in the end zone. Is there a chance for a great defensive performance by the Sooners tonight?
I think there's a chance. I don't know really what to make of this matchup in that regard, but I think there's a chance. If they can slow the run down, Tebow's not a great passer. I think he's an efficient passer. He's made some big throws for him, obviously. But if they can slow the run down and make Florida one-dimensional, then I think there is a chance for a big-time defensive performance.
These are all great debates. Heisman versus Heisman, SEC defense versus Big 12 offense. No one's really debating the fate of the special teams. Florida clearly has the edge. Oklahoma's kickoff coverage has not been well. Sooner kicking game, not very good. John, any way that the Sooners can find some way to break even in the special teams tonight?
You know what? I've noticed a lot of punters are doing this rugby kick. Take a few steps to the right and kick it that way. Can you do that on a kickoff? If they could come up with some kind of rugby kick on a kickoff, I think we'd be breathing a little bit easier. I hope so. I mean, there's just been a lot of opportunities to return it against OU, and they've done it 4 times.
Well, Chopper, what do you think? It's not just the kickoff. OU's punting game is terrible. The field goal, Jimmy Stevens has been okay recently. Struggled early in the year. But what do you see in the special teams?
Well, it's not a good matchup, I don't think. I don't think there's any way that you can say that it's a good matchup for Oklahoma. The one untold story is, and I think I'm going to break this out tonight, is Mike Leach has convinced Bob Stoops to onside kick every kick. And so they've been working on that for 30 days, and I think that's going to be the key to the game.
Guys, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that you see Bob Stoops be a little more gambling when he's got the ball. 4th and 4 from the 28, maybe don't kick a field goal. 4th and 7 from midfield, maybe don't punt. Go ahead and put the ball in Sam Bradford's hands instead of on the foot of Michael Null or Jimmy Stevens.
Well, it's a national title game. Do you really want it to come to that? It shouldn't have to come to that. Look, I know what the score was, 45-35, but that was 3 months ago now, Barry, almost 3 months ago. OU is a much better team. OU is a much better team. They're better equipped to play with Florida right now than they were 3 months ago.
All right, prediction time, guys. John's right, long season. We're into the second week of January now. Latest college football game ever. your take on tonight's game.
I picked Florida in the newspaper, and I'd like to point out I am the leader in that category going into the bowl season, but I really don't know. I think it's a toss-up. I think it's a tight game either way, and maybe somebody with a break wins it. But I think it's a 30s type scoring game and very close.
John?
I'd like to point out that I am dead last in picking people. So I've done all I could for OU. I picked Florida to win, so don't blame it on me if OU doesn't come through.
Well, I too picked Florida 35-34. My reasoning is sound. After the West Virginia Fiesta Bowl last year, I said I'll never pick Oklahoma again until they win one. I'm a man of my word. Hey, we'll check in with you after the game. Enjoy the football here. We'll be return to paradise here in South Florida.